What's going on? And welcome to Prater the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk. Welcome our video audience. Say thank you to the Dollar Loan Center. Don'tBeBroke.com. You can catch this on our YouTube page or other social media channels. It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. You're in your rig. You're heading home. It's the first weekend in November. You have, Prater, you were saying November is a great month for college football. Really got some juicy matchups. You kind of can tell about certain teams and whatnot. We got a loaded weekend, and we're going to start things off talking a little Boise State, Fresno State.
Yeah, certainly one of the bigger games of the day around here, the big game of the day around here. So looking forward to that. Yeah, it's crunch time. The college football schedule is not exactly great tomorrow. It's okay. There's been some weird schedules in terms of Saturdays. There's been some really spectacular Saturdays, some really stinker Saturdays. This one's kind of right in the middle, and hopefully it leads up to 3 or 4 straight Saturdays where all kinds of crazy drama is going to happen. So, yeah, absolutely looking forward to this weekend.
Keep your phone handy because if you want free tickets to next week's home game, Boise State hosting New Mexico, we're going to ask you to call the Double Tap Pub hotline at some point this hour, probably 10, 15 minutes. You don't have to call yet. And we want, with everything being on the table, your takes. You know, what if they lose a close game? Are you still going to shred Andy? Do you want them to finally get to one quarterback system? Who do you think will start? And what's your confidence level the defense is going to play? Well, all that stuff. If you call us and share your opinion, you automatically enter into the contest to win tickets to next week's game. And by the way, we're giving away tickets to next week's game, Prater, all next week.
Nice.
There's a lot of next weeks I just said there. All right. The yin and the yang. We figured we'd give some love to the wide receiver position today, Prater, and we'll start, Eric McAlister. Let's just start with him, EMAC, in the season he's having. What's sticking out to you?
Yeah, he's having a spectacular season. I mean, it's a beautiful season, and we kind of sensed it, toward the end of last year when he started making some traction. We started talking to Dirk Cutter about him, in terms of his playmaking abilities. But don't forget, he never caught more than 3 passes in a game last year. As a matter of fact, he caught 10 passes in 6 games. So it's not like he had a huge amount of momentum. It's not like he was this great playmaker, but he certainly came into this season with a lot of hype. Then he goes out to the Washington game and gets 15 targets right off the bat in that game. And he's off and running and established himself real quickly as wide receiver 1 for Boise State and has not slowed down. He's been spectacular. He's been really fun to watch. The relationship with Taylor Green, I think is the best thing about Taylor Green. That left side, corner pylon post route, however you want to describe it. I think they called it a 9
route.
Yeah, a 9 route is absolutely. I think that's Taylor Green's favorite pass. It's his best pass. They certainly, hook that up and play that pass really well. But here comes Maddox Madsen, kind of feeding off of Eric McAlister as well. So I think both these quarterbacks are totally dialed into Eric McAlister. It's a beautiful story to watch. And on the other side of the angle is the Stef Cobbs, the super senior, the wide receiver that was supposed to come in with the most experience and the most bang. And Stef Cobbs, where are you?
That's where you're going with the yin and the yang, right?
Yes,
I mean, that's where we're going.
What is it? You looked that up. It's the opposite but connected. Is that what you looked up this morning, JP?
Opposite but connected, yes.
Kind of like Prater on the ballgame, right? We're connected, but he's yin, I'm yang.
Yeah, we may rename the show the Yin and Yang Show.
God, did you guys? Was it just me, or did you always think it was yin and yang? Prater, did you always know it was yin and yang? I thought it was yang.
I do know that it's yin and yang, but I always say yin, and I always throw a G in there just because it rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah, yin and yang. It kind of does. For me, the season that Eric McAlister is putting together, is lost in the drama that is this offense. It's lost in the greatness that is Ashton Genty. It's lost in who the hell is playing quarterback, not this game, not this series, not this possession, but this play. And he's having this wonderful season. Prater, he's on pace for like 65, 70 catches, well over 1,000 yards, close to 10 touchdowns. He's a terrific player.
Yes, sir.
And I think he's trending towards an opportunity to play on Sundays. You want to keep players here, by the way, transfer portal this, transfer portal that. You give a receiver 15 targets, you see how quick he is to hop in the portal. McAlister is getting his targets no matter who the quarterback is. I mean, Prater, against Wyoming last year, that was kind of a sleepwalker. 7 catches for $160 and a touchdown. That's a monster output for Eric McAlister. He's actually, and we had high McAlister expectations, but he has exceeded those for me. He's doing better, Prater, than I thought he was going to do. That's the yin. And here's where the yang is, right?
Yeah, I think he's doing better because Boise State's become a one-dimensional passing team. So he's become better stat-wise because Boise State only really has one wide receiver, and that's the direction of this segment. Is what happened to Cobbs, what happened to Bowens, Prince Strawn. Everybody wants Prince Strawn to be this magical football player. He went 2 games. He went San Jose State and Colorado State without even getting a target. Are you kidding me? He's had 1 target in the last 3 games. It was a touchdown pass, a touchdown catch on his part, but he's had 1 target in the last 3 games. That is ridiculous. George Holani had more against Wyoming than he's had in the last 3 games combined. So there is no wide receiver help, and I'm afraid that this is going to come down and bite somebody in the butt. I think teams have really tried to clamp down on Eric McAlister. He only had 2 catches in the Colorado State game, despite Boise State scoring 30 points in that game. He only had 2 catches, so Colorado State figured something out. Outside of that, he's been very, very productive. I'm shocked, frankly, and maybe this is a testament to how good he is. I'm shocked that a football team out there hasn't shut him down. You shut down Eric McAlister, you're shutting down Boise State's entire passing attack, especially if Ashton Jennings not a part of it, and we don't think he's going to play this weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Think about this. I mean, for skill position players, receivers, tight ends, running backs, Ashton's got 15 touchdowns. McAlister have 5. Then you have a bunch of dudes tied with 1, Prater, 1. No one on this team, including Stef Cobbs, who we're talking about specifically now, has more than 1 touchdown this season. Taylor Green has 5, but he's a quarterback. Static Cobbs, as much as I can talk about McAlister surprising me, I think I can throw that in the direction of Stef Cobbs. Here's a guy in his 6th year who's had productive times, who's had good seasons at Boise State. He's had a year where he's had 5 touchdowns. And here is a guy who had a higher expectations, and he has them for himself. Obviously, Steph wants to play better. He wants more targets. You said, what was the stat? You said about static week 1 versus Washington, and then static kind of the rest of the year?
Stef Cobbs had 10 targets in the Washington game right after McAlister had 15. So they established themselves as wide receiver 1 and 2. That's 25 targets between Boise State's top 2 wide receivers.
Good point.
McAlister has continued that trend with anywhere between 7, 8, 9, and 10 targets almost every single game. Stef Cobbs has had less targets in the last 3 games combined than he did in that entire Washington game. The coaching staff is slowly phasing out Stef Cobbs.
Feels like it, and it's not going to help Stef Cobbs when he's muffing a punt on special teams, keeping Wyoming in a game they had no business staying in for that first half, first quarter, essentially there. So you look at the receivers, and you're getting an A-level production at a Mountain West level from Eric McAlister. If you're going to grade the rest of the group, I mean, a D, I can't even say this is a C group right now for me. The yin and the yang is right there, and I don't know what hope people have, and you guys can call and let us know on this, just like where you are with wide receiver 2 on this team. Do we even know who it is? I think it's Static Cobbs. He has the 2nd most catches a receiver has on this team, Prater, but it's only 22. Billy Bones is 3rd with 13. So they just don't utilize the wideouts. Oh, well, then maybe they're throwing to the tight end. Riley Smith, 7 catches. Matt Lauder, 4 catches from that position. But back to McAlister and Cobbs, the yin and the yang, so to speak. Hopefully, because the yin and the yang, Prater, there's lower level, there's higher level, but it all evens itself out. It may need to even itself out tomorrow against Fresno for Boise State to get away with a win, especially if Genty's not playing or is limited.
Yeah, and I have all the trust in the world in George Holani to run enough to win a football game. And he is a pretty good pass catcher as well. So he's certainly not having anywhere near the kind of production that Ashton Genty has, but I have faith in George Holani. You know, the one thing in terms of the pass stats numbers, the passing stats, Boise State's done a nice job of managing the passing. I mean, I don't think Maddox Madsen has had more than 15, 16 attempts in a game this season. Certainly Taylor Green is in that same neighborhood. This is not a Boise State football team that's throwing the football 30 times a game. Sure. They're not even throwing it 20 times a game. Lately, they've been throwing it, 15 to 20 times a game. So there's not going to be crazy numbers. So if you're going to be that limited in the passing game, why don't you just go to your obvious wide receiver one, which is Eric McAlister? So I think they're doing a good job of finding the right targets. I just wish there was a little bit more balance. I wish Cobbs would step it up a little bit more. I wish Bowens, who last year I put a bet out there on Bowens being the leading receiver for Boise State, and at times he showed it, but at times this year I have to find out that if he's still on the roster, for crying out loud. He's almost been non-existent in terms of targets and in terms of receptions. So Billy Bowens, Stef Cobbs not taking care of business. Eric McAlister absolutely taking care of business.
Stay by those phones. We'll ask you to call in and share your thoughts on this and be able to enter to win tickets to Boise State, New Mexico next week. First, though, I want to get to Bush Hamden. He talked earlier this week about the wide receiver Eric McAlister and the season he is having.
Eric's done a great job, and it's a little bit of that mixture of, and you guys know it. I mean, you see it week in and week out, right? You can mix the run game and get people to come down in the box and play the run. And then you've got the opportunities where if they're in man situations, they certainly got to account for Eric on the edge. And he's done a tremendous job of not just creating separation, but making tough plays with a guy in his face. And just super proud of Eric. Eric is maybe not when he got to college, he wasn't like maybe a guy like Maddox or maybe a guy like George. He certainly took some time, you know what I mean, to learn the ropes, if you will. But his focus has been tremendous. The conversations with him during games have just been really, really impressive. So
everybody says that about EMAC. Like, he'll sometimes pick up the phone at the sideline and tell Bush, hey, this is working, that is working. Haven't you heard that a lot this year too?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that about Eric McAlister. It's great stuff.
Although I was very curious as to when he said it took him some time. It almost sounded like Bush was saying he got a little frustrated because he wasn't catching on fast enough. He's only been here for a year and a half.
Yeah,
last year and about halfway through the year, I thought he kind of made a name for himself. But
this is year 3.
He's a red shirt that first year, right?
Yeah,
he didn't
first
play.
year he did nothing.
He didn't play. So last year was the first time he got on the field. But I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll see. He's definitely not. Even though he'll be eligible, I don't think he's ready for the NFL. I think Boise State. He'll stick around at Boise State for one more year, and we'll get to see how that thing plays out. But definitely looking to see the growth of Eric McAlister.
I think he should. I hope he stays. Obviously, he's getting enough targets, and he's going to have a terrific season. He can prove no matter who the quarterback is, he can still make plays. 208-424-9300 Prater on the Double Tap Pub hotline. Here you go. Friday. Anything is on the table for you, Bronco Nation. If you want tickets to see Boise State host New Mexico next week, you'll call right now, and just a call and to come on and talk with us and share your thoughts. You'll be automatically entered into the contest to win these tickets. Call right now. JP, line them up. Let's have some fun on a football Friday. We're Prater in the Ballgame. This is Idaho Sports Talk.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio.